Why this story matters. This article highlights a practical example of progress driven by people, ideas, and persistence. Quick summary. This story highlights recent developments related to bicycles, showing how constructive action can lead to meaningful results. A US city of 60,000 people would typically see around 6 to 8 traffic fatalities every year. But Hoboken, New Jersey, they haven't had a single fatal crash for 9 years since January 17, 2017, to be exact. Campaigns for seatbelts, lower speed limits, and sober driving have brought national death tolls from car crashes down from a peak in the first half of the 20th century. However, many still assume some traffic deaths as an unavoidable cost of car culture. The global Vision Zero movement, by contrast, believes traffic deaths aren't inevitable, celebrating Hoboken and related milestones in larger cities like Helsinki, Finland, as proof of what can be achieved. By studying which factors contribute to local crash fatalities, Vision Zero proponents say communities can decide to change policies, infrastructure, and human behavior to reduce the likelihood of fatal accidents. Would you like to read more good news about bicycles, cities, towns, transportation, urbanism, pedestrians, and public space? As a young father, Bala had to push his stroller dangerously close to traffic on numerous occasions to check if it was safe to cross certain streets. Later, as a city council member, a pedestrian death cemented his resolve that Hoboken could do better. Bala picked up the mantle from his predecessor Mayor Dawn Zimmer, launching a 5-year analysis of Hoboken's crash data to learn contributing factors and vulnerabilities that could be used to help shape reforms. That analysis showed that between 2014 to 2018, 40% of the accidents causing serious injuries or death in Hoboken involved bikers or pedestrians, even though people walking and bicycling were only involved in 8% of all crashes. Given that most bicycle and pedestrian crashes, 88%, happened in intersection crosswalks, this became a major priority. Central to Hoboken's early strategy was a focus on vulnerable road users such as seniors and kids, which meant prioritising street redesign near schools, parks, and senior centres. Prior to Bala's time in office, Hoboken started strictly enforcing New Jersey's statewide daylighting policy, which bans cars from parking within 25 feet of intersections to improve visibility and boost driver response time. But high demand for parking and pressure to protect already limited spaces meant enforcement was challenging. If there's not something blocking them, they'll just park there, says Gregory Francis, who directs Hoboken's Vision Zero program. Hoboken would need enforcement out there at all times, at every intersection, which is very difficult to impossible. So Hoboken used a variety of physical deterrents, such as inexpensive, waist-high plastic posts to prevent parking in forbidden spots, even temporarily. Some intersection-adjacent spaces were converted into wider sidewalks.
The city also collaborated with aligned government departments and community groups to repurpose daylit space to benefit local residents, integrating bike parking, plants, and rain gardens to mitigate flood risks.
Washington Street Rain Garden. Photo courtesy of the city of Hoboken. Hoboken's approach of layering several evidence-based strategies simultaneously recognizes that drivers will make mistakes and factors multiple layers of protection into safer road design. We're not just investing in infrastructure, Francis says. We're adding safety features to vehicles. We're doing driver education. So if there is driver error, or if there is pedestrian error, the consequences of that aren't death or serious injury. Bala successfully rallied support from within and outside of government, launching Hoboken's Vision Zero task force in 2019. Public engagement, Francis says, was and is core to this. Community surveys and meetings allowed leaders to hear from multiple voices, not just the loudest, he says, and piloting changes at 1 or 2 intersections first allowed people time to test and assess new infrastructure before commitments were made on a larger scale. Willingness to adjust plans to respond to feedback or challenges was key. Public awareness campaigns also helped educate residents on the reasoning behind certain changes, like why speed reduction of just 5 mph translates into huge pedestrian crash survival rate improvements. Not only did community members come to better understand the reasons for certain changes, but many also got on board once they saw the changes in action. Community members now play a role themselves, flagging when infrastructure needs fixing and asking for specific upgrades at intersections that don't have them. Public reporting of near-miss data also supplements close calls caught by city cameras that are being piloted around the city. One busy area near a supermarket had only a handful of crash injuries, but many more near misses captured by cameras and community reporting. Having access to this data spurred the leaders to prioritize a safer redesign, with the city and county able to get a state grant to cover the changes. Collaborations with other city departments also contributed to cost-sharing upgrades, particularly for multipurpose spaces with functional community benefits. Hoboken's success didn't happen overnight. After especially extensive road upgrades in 2020, Hoboken saw 18% fewer injury crashes and a 63% reduction in serious injuries between 2020 to 2020. Hoboken has not eliminated accidents or injuries. Year-over-year data fluctuates wildly and can still document concerning upswings, as found in a recent analysis of crash injury police reports by Bike Hoboken showing a 50% rise in traffic-related injuries from 140 in 2022 to 2020. Likewise, two ongoing challenges have been limited funds for new infrastructure and the constraints of relying on police crash data, which takes a while to be compiled and doesn't capture narrowly avoided accidents. Likewise, Hoboken's approach has no silver bullets. Small commuter-heavy Hoboken with strong public transit infrastructure has narrow streets with high pedestrian traffic on an older street grid, but larger cities like Helsinki have had similar milestones from their own tailored changes. But it's clear that Hoboken's multi-pronged approach to safer streets